Tears were brought to the eyes, sir. Your breakfast steak.
I like it. We could even give them a cut of the profits. Ha! Low down, Reddy. Which facility? What do you mean, all of them?
Sir, I'm hardly going to fist fight a child just to get a
Fine, fine!
那么，看来我们是没有合作的机会了。
Hello, wonderful folks of the Team Fortress 2 community. This is a special one. I'll be detailing the life of Bidwell, one of the TF2 non-player characters of all time. So without further ado, let's get started. While there's nothing in his past, thanks to a fellow who is willing to commit corporate espionage on my behalf, which I'll be referring to as Eric. Thanks to Eric, we now know that Bidwell was originally going to be Scout's brother. Now, because of the law, I cannot show exactly what I saw, so I'll have to manually visualize what I saw and hope that Valve won't notice. Each brother or sister specializes in a certain trait. What Eric saw could have been the first concept art mod for the Team Fortress 2 series for Adult Swim. It seems that only charisma, luck, strength, and stamina have concept art. The rest aren't so lucky. Looks like they planned to shed some light on the Scout's backstory early on, but then decided not to. Because,
well, as it turns out, who cares?
But anyway, him being his brother would explain why our favorite mercenaries have the luxury of refunds during the robot war. Yes, the refund button has lore. All in all, the folks at Valve thought of everything. Nonetheless, when it's time to build upon the character of Saxton Hale, they gave him friends and a nemesis and made Mann Co a thing. I'm glad they did. To think that Mr. Bidwell could have been left behind in some dusty hard drive to be forgotten. Maybe this is not the worst timeline after all. Judging from their first appearance, Bidwell and Reddy were slightly enhanced by Australium, specifically the ones in the underground vault. But more on that later. So in the late 60s, Mann Co struggled financially. Spytech went bankrupt and Bestralium kept turning its users into femboys. The Senate detected Mann Co and TF Industries' involvement in Poopy Joe's death. Overall, it's a mess. Thankfully, Administrator Girl bossed the Senate into ending the investigation, but the situation is still very grim. And what does Bidwell do? He remained calm, as if it's not the first time he's been involved in the death of someone important. Too bad there's no elaboration, so we can only speculate. Anyway, after the Senate went quiet, Bidwell and Reddy noticed that people were making their items after spotting the inactivity within the company, so they do a big brain maneuver that almost got them fired. This gives them more opportunities. Bidwell went on to create the Mann Co weapons catalog, and Reddy created the Dueler Gifting Man from Giftingland and Philatelier. However, the close call with the termination of their employment left a mark on them. Reddy became heartless, which got worse during the robot war, and strangely enough, Bidwell became more generous. Considering how that's the thing that led to them almost getting fired, you would think, so maybe they should stop being generous. But nope, they're back with their child. Item tryouts. A policy that allows strangers to borrow weapons from the company, which Hale is understandably skeptical of. Very strange indeed, but I think this is one of the side effects of exposure to Australium. Yes, it'll make you stronger and more intelligent, but unfortunately, it doesn't boost your wisdom, and it'll make you more aggressive, which is what happened to the duo. Or this could be Bidwell wanting to give Scout free stuff, who knows. Luckily for Bidwell, he has opportunities to do stuff outside of the company. An example would be that one time Saxton Hale used highly advanced technology to send Bidwell to a place that's beyond the Valve multiverse. He was sent on a solo mission to steal from Seraph Industries. Despite all odds, Bidwell succeeded. With only a contract as a distraction, he grabbed the closest crate and ran. Yes, he ran. He did not teleport like the G-Man. Bidwell might be why the folks at Seraph decided to form an all-new, high-level security team on top of the one they did have. Judging from the note, he seems pretty happy to show Hale what he stole, only for Hale to tell him not to document his trips, which is fair. You wouldn't want the knowledge of interdimensional traveling to fall into the wrong hands. Now here's the kicker. Hale told Bidwell to stop documenting his trips, so it's possible that Bidwell had more trips like this. Maybe he knows about Doctor Who, maybe he stole JoJo's hat. Hell, maybe he participated in the fight against Thanos in Endgame. Quite a shame, we'll never know for sure. Of course, he still has to cook and clean as seen in the contract, so I should point this out right here. With no effort, Bidwell could push away Miss Pauling, who was actively resisting. I always find that humorous. Bidwell's ability to approve products for production greatly affects the fates of many. An example of this is Terry, a museum curator who was out of a job. So he dons the role of a coward and sends a blueprint of the catapult to Mann Co. Along with the pitch of a brand new fighting technique, Bidwell approves and Terry is ecstatic at the thought of not starving to death. Another example is Del Conager, that's right, the engineer himself. When Scout shows his ass as a schematic, the engineer went ahead and made the Scout bot. He then doubled down and sent it to the company in the hopes of turning it into an official product. Bidwell accepts this because he thought it was funny. Unfortunately, the Pale Man snatched the designs, so in a way, Bidwell indirectly ensures that the gravel war would come to an end, unknowingly condemning many to their eventual fates. And while it's not confirmed, I think that while Miss Pauling was on a state-mandated vacation, it was Bidwell who punched her molar off for stealing millions of dollars in weapons.
Hey, just taking a boxing class here. Listen, a contract came in and arms up. And I thought of you. That's mine. That's my molar. Did anyone see where that went?
This next part is not canon as it never came to be. There was going to be a crossover between Team Fortress 2 and Overwatch, according to Eric and several folks who worked on the Warcraft 3 server plugin mod. Yes, Blizzard, who made Overwatch, also made a Team Fortress 2 server plugin mod. Valve allegedly encouraged Blizzard to create Overwatch so that Team Fortress 2 would have a proper rival. And while everyone is distracted, Valve and Blizzard will make a crossover to surpass all crossovers. That never came to be. It might have something to do with the fact that Valve is notoriously slow, as seen when they collaborated with Adult Swim for a TF2 series. Overwatch becoming its own thing thanks to Rule 34 and eSport most certainly didn't help. And of course, Valve's interest in Team Fortress 2 simply wasn't the same as in the early days, so it grinds to a halt and is eventually abandoned. What does Bidwell have to do with this, you might ask? Well, Bidwell was going to be the one who canonically started it. It was supposed to be a standard infiltration mission until he got caught by Hanzo. He also appeared in different outfits and roles on several other occasions. But had the crossover come to fruition, we would be able to see stuff like Bidwell tricking Bastion and Zenyatta into giving away valuable data, Bidwell stealing from Mercy and Tor Bijan, the Bombonomicon role-playing as Bin Laden, Saxton Hale being Saxton Hale, Demoman Rat battling Lucho, Marasmus becoming a Texaco cashier, Sombra canceling the Pale Man on Twitter.com, Tracer almost dying because God, and many more wacky series of events. Safe to say the technology gathered from the trip to Serif and Overwatch allowed Mann Co to create the experimental augments that will be used in the robot war. Not a moment too soon either. After decades of building up his empire, the Pale Man launched a devastating blitzkrieg on all Mann Co facilities right on the day Hale went off to fight the Yeti. This is 100% planned. While Hale is off to search for drugs to put in the Yeti because apparently the Yeti is not strong enough, Bidwell and Reddy ran the company well. As said before, they added refunds. In an alternate timeline, the company became very successful thanks to the money in Gray's robots, which led to Gray deploying his artificial Pandora boxes, resulting in a dystopian future where people fight for hats and the president is an animal-attracted person. But this is not canon, so it's mostly ignorable. Back to the canonical timeline, after realizing that he's stuck in a stalemate, the Pale Man went on to exploit a little thing called the Mann Co challenge. Turns out, Hale would not punch a child, so he promoted Bidwell in the hopes that he would do it instead, and surprisingly, he declined. Quite strange considering how he has been through a lot for the company, but then again, he is a professional who will not be engaging in such acts. Anyway, he gets fired for insubordination, and that's about it for him. Bidwell disappears from the story ever since. He doesn't even reappear for the cover of The Naked and the Dead, which features everyone regardless of obscurity. The news of Bidwell leaving crippled the company considerably, with Notable faces like Terry also leaving shortly after, and many facilities being badly scheduled, which results in shareholders and loyal hat makers abandoning the company. All this forced the Pale Man to spend 6 months doing damage control, which gives the administrator ample time to come up with another plan. But seeing how Bidwell is included in both the supposed leak of the official last comic and the fan-made comics by Springlock titled Of Mercs and Masters, not to mention all the beautiful fan-made artworks that made my day, I'm glad that both Valve and the community still remember him. One last thing, in the faithful meeting, Bidwell can be seen wearing a blue tie which matches what G-Man was wearing in the E3 2003 demonstration. That got me thinking, and I realized the two are quite similar in certain aspects. Visually, they got the same outfit. They both act as middlemen for their employers, both supply weapons and armor. They both have been through a lot, similar skill set, and was granted unnatural abilities by their employers. It is unclear what kind of orchestra Valve is writing, but seeing how their interest in Team Fortress 2 has diminished, so we can only speculate. Do share your thoughts in the comments. I think that either Bidwell is the Team Fortress universe equivalent of the G-Man, or Bidwell did such a good job with Mann Co that the employers of the G-Man based his human appearance on Bidwell, thinking that it would make him look more trustworthy. Either way, it's one hell of an honor for a mere corporate servant nobody cares about. And that's the complete life of Mr. Bidwell. Here are some behind-the-scenes facts. Bidwell is considered a liaison. I looked it up. Judging from the fourth meaning, it seems Bidwell and Jeremy might have the same father, though we'll have to ask the voice actors for this one. Bill Cipher was supposed to make an appearance in the TF2 series for Adult Swim, but because of Valve's inability to get it done on time, the TF2 series never came to be, so Bill went to Rick and Morty instead. However, the visit is still technically canon thanks to both the Bill Cipher Reddit Q&A and the TF2 comics. Is Bidwell involved? Probably not, but I felt this was worth a mention. And finally, there was once a lad called John Bidwell, a business manager who got involved in a fight against insurrectionists, became Mexican after finding gold, fought in the Mexican-American War, joined the Senate, and had a fort named after him, got married and came in 4th place nationwide while running for the position of Governor of California. Is this part of the Team Fortress 2 lore? No, it's something I found while looking up Bidwell, though the lad would fit right in as Barnabas Hale's Bidwell. As always, thank you for watching, and remember, the engineer built Scout's ass because he told him to.